Hello and welcome to the Whispering Mountain Grill. Today we're going to be cooking some chicken. We're going to be doing it on a charcoal grill, and I know for some of you cooking chicken on a charcoal grill tends to be a bit of a difficulty, so let's see if we can't help you figure out what we're doing here. Okay, here is our grill. It's a Kingsford. It's the small box. There's two different sizes. They also make one that's a bit bigger than this, but for what we're doing, for our purposes, for my purposes, this is the perfect size. It has two cast iron grates, most of the time of which I only use one. The reason for that is what we see here, and we're going to show you a couple things. Number one, I can move this grate back and forth over the heat. Now you'll notice that I have the charcoal fire on the one side and the other side is open. I can put my hand here, where over here, whoo, nope, can't do that. The idea here is the same as with your ovens. A lot of times we use mostly a lot of indirect heat to get a lot of the cooking done, and then as we move it back and forth over the grill. But the problem with chicken, pork, some other fatty type meats is that they drip. I think we all pretty much understand that, and the problem is as the fat drips down into the charcoal, it ignites and sets a fire, which makes things more difficult for cooking the chicken. We tend to end up with the outside of the chicken burnt and the inside of the chicken sometimes undercooked. With chicken, with pork, we certainly don't want undercooked. So here we go. This little tool that I'm holding in my hand here, you get it at Walmart, not very expensive. It's made out of cast iron, and the best thing is I can move this back and forth. I can use this to take the lids off of cast iron pots. I do a lot of cooking with cast iron, as you'll see in future videos. Just about all my outdoor cooking is either directly on the grill or it's in cast iron. Although I do use tin foil and foil pans for certain things, and we'll get into that in a little bit. What we're doing here is I'm just simply going to let these grates heat up a little bit more, and then I'll move them over and we'll put some oil on them to keep the meat from sticking. Coals are almost ready to cook. You have a nice gray consistency. I'm going to be putting some wood chips on soon. For chicken, I usually will use hickory and cherry, and maybe I'll throw a little bit of maple in there. I save my mesquite for the pork and for beef. Sometimes I'll throw a little bit of apple in. It again depends on my mood and what I feel like doing. Sometimes I'll use a combination of, if I'm making chili, for example, I'll use some of the apple, and I'll use a little bit of the hickory, but I'll use a lot of mesquite just for the flavoring. Depends on what you like. Nothing says you have to do it the same way I do. I'm simply giving you some tips so that as you cook, we will have, you can have some good food. Hey, we're all about good food. It's the whole purpose behind this. Well, anyway, we're going to pause this as we go inside, and let's get the chicken ready for the grill. Grill's almost ready. All right, we're in here now with the chicken that is graciously volunteered to be our dinner for tonight. What we're going to do, I'm trying to do this and hold this by my hand, myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some seasonings on here. What I have, some of the Bada Gourmet Blends seasoning, poultry seasoning. I like to start with this. Obviously, we're not going to be the only thing I'm going to put on here. Now, I want to make a comment, especially when you're grilling. Certain people, especially my daughter, think that sometimes I put too much seasoning on. Well, the problem is when you put it on, especially when you get over the fire, you'll end up losing some of the seasonings to the fire. It'll actually burn off. So I usually put just a little more than I normally would. If I was putting it in the oven per se, I wouldn't be putting as much of this. Now I've got some of the Sours fried chicken seasonings, which personally I like. I've got here some Trail Dust, which is Western seasonings. I get this at Cabela's. I think they also sell it at Bass Pro Shop, and probably some other places if I really look. And then I have the McCormick Perfect Pinch rotisserie chicken, and I'll shake some of this on here. Again, you might think I'm putting too much seasoning on, but like I said, most of it will burn off, and you don't have to put so much on. This is your chicken. You make it the way you want to. This is my chicken, and I'm going to certainly make it the way I like. Now, I put some black pepper on top. The only thing we all need to remember is when you're cooking the chicken like this, it certainly needs to be cooked all the way through. Raw chicken or undercooked chicken is a great way to get sick, and I'm sure that none of us are really interested in getting sick. Certainly hope not. So we'll be back in a few minutes as we get ready to see where the grill is. Alright, we are back, and it looks like our charcoal is about ready to go here. They got a nice gray ash on it. There's a couple inside here that are still working their way hot, but they'll be fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my wood chips out. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and what I've got here is some hickory. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't know where to get hickory. Well, if you go to Home Depot, you'll find that they have bags of hickory chunks there for the asking. Now, some people wet these to get a more a wet or a moist smoke. I'm not, if you'll notice. Now, quickly, because I'm taking a little bit longer than I normally would, now I'm putting some cherry. I don't put quite as much of the cherry on as I do the hickory. At least not yet. Ooh, that's getting hot. I can also move this off to the side, and I can throw them, the ones that fall through. There's always one or two that don't cooperate. But that's just, we find that in life. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pause. I'm going to get some oil or some spray to put on the grate. Hang on. Alright, we're back again. The spray, now you got to be careful because the spray tends to be flammable. Pam, they do make the Pam grilling spray as well. Now you notice that my grate is on the offset for the start here. Reason for that being, we certainly don't want to get this burning or cooking too fast, too quick at this point. And what we're going to do is we're going to let some of the fat drip off on the other side of the grill. These pieces of chicken look good, don't they? Oops. Let's see if I can fit him in here. Look at that. Alright, got 5 pieces of chicken here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're good to go. I'll drop these last 2 pieces in here. Now it's burning. That's okay. Because now that we closed it, you're going to see it'll start smoking. And we're just going to let this cook. Probably going to go for a good 20 minutes, half hour. We'll be back. Alright, we're back outside. It's been about, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes. We're taking a look at the chicken here. Looking pretty good. And we got some smoke going. We're doing alright. Temperature on the grill here, I don't know if you can see it the way that this is having a little bit of trouble focusing. We're just shy of 400 degrees. Before I opened the lid, it was actually reading 400. So we got a little ways to go. We're good. I'm just going to take a moment and show off here. This is the location of the Whispering Mountain Grill. There's my American flag, of course. We have the mountains in the background here, this is my little piece of heaven. Anyway, we're going to go back to the food.